Welcome everybody. Let's make sure everything, yep, we got sound. You never really know these days. Welcome to CommunityFIT, and in particular, welcome to another MoveLab class. I'm James, and I'll be your teacher for today. Hopefully you are doing well today. A little housekeeping before we get started. Remember, for MoveLab, there is only one rule, well, 1.5, maybe 2 rules to MoveLab. Rule number 1 is, whatever you're doing it perfectly well. You are absolutely correct in the decisions you're making. You are doing the right thing. Why? Because there is no wrong way to move, only choices. The 1.5, maybe 2 rule is don't do what I do. If the way I'm sitting is uncomfortable to you, make a different choice. If the exercise, if the practice I'm teaching at the moment is above your pay grade or too easy or just uncomfortable or boring to you, make a different choice. This is what MoveLab is all about, sort of settling into and creating self-trust in your own body and in your own choices. So this is me advocating for and giving you permission to make some choices. As always, we're going to start off with the breathing practice, then we're going to move into some nervous system warm-ups, and then we're going to get right into our movement practice for today. I believe we're on week 4. It feels like week 4. So we've sort of covered some foundational movements, and now we are moving into some flow areas. So if you're like, some of this, I feel like I need some deeper groundwork here, James, you can check out our YouTube videos. We have plenty of them, and those will have some foundational stuff, or just kind of stick with it. And again, just make some choices. If something feels too much for you or too little for you, modify it, modulate it as needed. If there's any tech stuff that comes up, send that over to Alicia and Raymond, and they would be happy to answer any tech questions. I'll stick around at the end to answer any of the questions about today, and let's go ahead and get started. I invite you to put your right hand onto your right rib cage and put your left hand onto your left rib cage. If that feels too much for your shoulders or your wrists, or that's uncomfortable, you can kind of crisscross it, or simply just kind of hold yourself tightly. From there, take a nice deep inhale and feel your ribs expand. Exhale, feel your ribs get smaller, get a little more narrow. Inhale, feel the ribs expand. Exhale, they get more narrow, more shallow. As I inhale, my ribs ideally should kind of open and flare up, and they should be soft. This should be a soft process. You can't force more inhalation through the ribs in, so think of it as a softening. Exhalation, everything contracts, dilates, close, and I should feel some muscle contraction underneath my hands. I should feel some rib cage, some ab muscle. Even if it feels like there's not a lot, there should be something. There should be recognition that there's something squeezing. Inhale, it opens. Exhale, it squeezes. The visual we're going to play with today is you're a sponge. And as you inhale, you are soaking up liquid, air, oxygen, life. Exhale, you're kind of squeezing it out to make room to be filled up again. Inhaling. Exhaling. You can go in through the nose, through the mouth today. Make your choices. 5 more of these. Two more breaths. One more. From there, as you breathe, you don't have to do the big breath. You don't have to stick with this visual, but it's a reference. It's something for you to check in with time and time again. Does my breath feel like a sponge? Am I allowing things in and squeezing things out? And if not, how today can I practice that concept? Allowing things in, pushing things through. Then bring your hands together. Take your nice warm hands, put them against your throat, and just relax. Just letting the warmth do the work. From there, my right hand goes onto my left throat. Big, heavy hand draws to middle as I twist my face in the opposite direction. Other side, left hand, right throat. Big, heavy hand. One more each side. Big, heavy hand. Last one over here. Big, heavy hand. Good. From there, I'm just going to put my hands on my chest and I'm going to crisscross at the wrist. I'm going to take my fingertips and just start to tap collarbone. Maybe even into my chest a bit. Right hand is tapping left, left hand is tapping right. And then if you can bring yourself to sit like this, do that. If not, just continue to do this thing. Actually, I've changed my mind. If you can bring your feet to do this, do this. If not, I'm going to start here first. Right hand grabs a hold of left ear. Left hand grabs a hold of right ear. You just start to gently massage them. If not, go ahead and grab a hold of your big toes. Now, if you're doing the ear thing, just go ahead and do this. The other, this next one won't make sense to you. Just keep doing the ear thing. It does a very similar thing. If you're doing the toe thing, I want you to, for a minute, pay attention to what your right hand is touching. And for a moment, go, oh, look at that. That's my left big toe. Even though it feels like my right big toe as I touch it. Even though my brain is going, huh, that's my left toe. And as I'm doing the right toe, feels like it's over on the left. Sort of this funny brain chemistry thing, but it does a very similar thing to cross-body connection. So I'm just kind of massaging the toes. Then I can pick my hands up. I'm going to shake it all out. Got that brain to get a little stimulated there. Let it all just shake out. Pick my shoulders up and just let them drop. Pick my shoulders up, let them drop. Two more, up, drop. One more, up, and drop. From there, just some shoulder circles, just to get some movement in there. And reverse that. And then right into our seaweed spine. Just imagining that my spine is made of seaweed or blades of grass moving in the wind. Bamboo has a similar feel to it, and I'm just allowing my spine to move freely. Is my tailbone spine seaweed, my low back spine, my rib spine, my neck spine? And if not, just paying attention to where it feels reluctant to move. Because as we explore and play today, often we go, ow, I can't move there, ow, it hurts, ow, and we're kind of shocked when aliveness, when that pain sort of activates. But if you sort of inch into it, if you sort of get curious about how things are moving, you're less likely to be shocked. Like for me, I feel my low back spine, and between my rib spine and my pelvic spine is a little more reluctant to move today. So I'm not going to be shocked if it doesn't move well today. I'm already aware of that. Then slide your legs out in front of you. Go ahead and just slide your hands as if to touch your toes. If you want to do paint your legs today, go ahead and imagine favorite color, painting your legs, or just whatever kind of little stretch thing you need here. If this feels like enough for you today, go ahead and stay here. If not, collect your left leg. Your chest rotates to look at your left knee and you go down. And then you come back up, it rotates to look at your right knee and you go down. Rotate and down, rotate and down, rotate and down, rotate and down. Two more. Last one over here. Other side. We go down and down and down and down. 3, 2, 1. Up. Stretch your legs. Put your right hand out in front of you. Follow your right hand behind you. Let it touch the floor. Rotates to look at it. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, sitting back down. Left hand, rotate. It goes behind you. Rotates to look at it. Take a nice deep inhale. Rotate and look. Rotate and look. Rotate and look. Last one over here, rotate and look. From there, bring your knees into a bended shape and just kind of roll all the way back and set your feet down from there. Open your arms to the letter T, drop your knees to the right and to the left. We go right and we go left. One more to each side. And find your center. Reach your right arm up to the ceiling. Let your shoulder blade just kind of rest. No need to push it down. Imagine that your right shoulder blade is like a foot. And that foot doesn't have to do any work to make a connection with the solid ground. It just has to be present. But that foot doesn't get to lift. We're not heavier on one side. It's just rested. Then allow that hand to start to make shapes. Now, at first, I bet the shapes are sort of technical and robotic. It's like an open, close, move, move, move. Can the movement of your hand stimulate movement in the elbow, movement in the shoulder, while still allowing that right shoulder blade to stay rested? So I'm paying attention to two things at one time. Is my shoulder blade rested? And look at the movement of my hand. Can you surprise yourself? I call this sort of movement kaleidoscopic. It's like I'm not making it happen. I'm just sort of getting curious about what does happen. If I make a choice, where does my hand end up? I'm not reaching it up so much that my shoulder blade comes off. I'm just allowing that movement to happen, and I'm just moving it in different directions. Surprising myself, like, look at that. That's my hand up there. It can do some really cool things. Then lay that arm down. Pick the other arm up. Rest the shoulder blade. You can start off with some really robotic, technical, flex, extend, rotate, open, close actions. And then slowly, that sort of robotic movement surprises you and gets a little softer, a little more nuanced, a little rounder, a little more creative. But I'm still very aware of what choice I'm making in my shoulder blade. Can I just allow it to rest? Then both arms can lift. Both shoulder blades stay rested. Both arms get to move. My eyes follow them wherever they go. They can come together. They can pull apart. They can push together. One can throw the other. They can just kind of dance and move around each other. I could make sort of a pitching action or a pulling action, a pushing action. I don't care what kind of movement you're doing. I'm just inviting you to pay attention to several portions of you in movement. Then lay your arms down. In comparison, pay attention now to the back side of your pelvis. In this class, we paid attention to our sits bones, but the sits bones are not on the floor. The sits bones are above the floor. They're pointed that way. Instead, it's the back side of my pelvis that's on the floor. Can I just let that backside rest and relax? Maybe I feel my sacrum and tailbone get a little wider. Maybe my low back feels softer. And I'm just going to hold there. Can I keep that right and left sides, both sides, equally weighted, and lift up one leg? Maybe I point and flex. Maybe I circle. Or maybe there's some kaleidoscopic movement. I'm inviting you to pay attention to the backside of your pelvis as you move that leg, however it is that leg wants to move. You may notice in order to keep the backside of your pelvis down and for that leg to creatively liberate itself and move, your abs may intuitively contract and release. You don't have to squeeze anything. You just have to pay attention. Then that leg goes down, the other one comes up. I'm just kind of moving. Then maybe both of them. How do I resist the urge to tuck and squeeze and instead relax and allow the legs to be liberated? Maybe at some point, my abs will have to, on their own, contract. I don't need to overly squeeze anything. And you're working in ranges of motion that make sense to your body. Can you also now begin to allow shoulder blades to rest and arms and legs to play? Maybe the backside of your body feels wider. Maybe for you, it needs to be a little more organized. Maybe there's a reach, maybe both reach and come back. Maybe both reach and come back. Or maybe they just play. Now, can all four of your limbs stay up? And can you figure out a way to lift your head to look for your own belly button? Maybe you start to pay attention to the arms and the legs. It's like a baby self-discovering itself. Wherever the arms go, wherever the legs go. Maybe now begin to rock right and left. Like a baby sort of rocking. Think back to some of the rocking action. You know which side you rock better or worse to. You're not surprised by that. You're just adding in more stuff now. Like a little baby, playing, 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 and then rest. Rest there for a moment and just go back in your own memory and acknowledge that you just created big shapes, little shapes, symmetrical, asymmetrical shapes, fun shapes, boring shapes. Things work together and away from each other. Then flip over onto your stomach. Flip over onto your stomach. And be here for a moment. From there, come up to your forearms. I don't care if you have your palms down or palms facing each other, fists or flat hands, you make your choice. From there, fully relax the shoulders. Just kind of slump down into that. Then instead, push down and notice yourself rising up. Then relax. And push down. Remember, in order to go up, something's got to go down. And then relax. I call this shoulders on, shoulders off. Thinking of the shoulders sort of like little machines. They can be on or off. On or off. On, off. On, off. On, off. On, off. Both of them on, hold. Right one goes off, back on. Left one goes off, back on. I'll turn to face you so that you get a little clearer vision of this. From there, both of them turn off and on. Off and on. Right one turns off and on. Left one turns off and on. One of them you choose goes off and on. Both of them off and on. Left one off and on. Right one off and on. Left one off and on. Both off and on. Both off and on. Hold. Right one goes off and back on. Left one goes off and back on. Both go off and on. Relax. Just relax and be there. For some of you, that might be enough shoulder work for today. If you want more, both of them turn on, hold. Can you stay here? Pick something to look at in your horizon line. It stays exactly there. Can you notice what of you is on the floor? What of you is touching the floor right now? Can you keep it consistent and liberate a right arm? It can go wherever. Left arm stays on. Everything of you keeps touching the floor and then back down. Other side. And release. Relax. Turn everything off. Turn everything back on. Maybe for you, you do one arm at a time or just shoulders on and off. Or can you stay up this high? Keep looking at whatever you're looking at. Liberate not one, but both sides. They can move wherever they need to move. And relax, turn it off. Bend both knees. Relax your shoulders for a moment. Bend both knees. Right foot caresses left leg. Then left foot caresses right leg. You'll notice that your pelvis and your body rock, yaw, move side to side. Then relax and let go. Fully relaxed all the way down. This is sort of another one of those touch and go moments. We've played with them lying on our back. We're now going to play with them lying on our belly. Touch and go is different than how we normally do exercise, where we kind of hold things. This is not yoga. We're not looking to hold anything. We're looking to touch it and go. So all the way down, right knee bends, right hand touches right foot, touch and go. Left to left, touch and go. Right to right, touch and go. Touch, touch. Touch. Now, almost making it there is not making it there. Figure out, how do I actually make this connection? Do I need my shoulders on? Can they be off? Do I have enough back muscle? Is there enough flexibility? What do you need to do to touch and go? Touch and go. Touch and go. Touch and go. If that's enough for you, stay there. If not, right hand touches left. Touch and go. Touch and go. Touch and go. Touch and go. You can do that, or you can look at what you're touching. Touch and go. Touch and go. Touch and go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Maybe you just do a little wiggle, a little breathing. Speaking of breathing, how's that breathing going? Are you remembering to inhale, exhale, allow it, contract it? Practice that here if you've forgotten. If one of those was difficult, stay there. They are the building blocks of this next experience. So if you're like, couldn't do those, and you enter into this, just don't, your choice. Just don't be surprised if this one goes less successfully than what you want it to go. There are building blocks to movement. Lay all the way down. Open your feet to letter X. Open your arms to letter X. From there, envision that you have the most safe parachute known to man. It will open. And you get to enjoy the sensation of flying, falling, soaring. So, you're relaxed. Then imagine you get to float off the ground, all of your limbs and your head, and then back down. How high you go is up to you. I'm advocating that as you lift, begin to lift, make yourself wider, 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 wider. Don't worry about going up. Be concerned with width and length. The height will come, and then back down. I go up by getting wider and longer. And back down. If that's difficult, stay there. If not, come up. Take a look at your right hand. Liberate it. Let it begin to move. Let that right leg begin to move. Then maybe it's the left. You're just sort of falling, floating, soaring, playing. Knees can bend. You can get wider. You can get more narrow. This is for you to kind of play with here. Bend, relax. Bend both knees. Right foot traces left. Left foot traces right. So we practice baby on our back, exploring our limbs. Wasn't about how high you came up. It wasn't about core strength, although that's needed. We played with parachute, liberating and floating off the ground. It's not a swan. It's not a cobra. It's not Pilates or yoga. It is back extension, but it's play. Baby and parachute. Now, when we put them together, we've got baby parachute. So, open up, letter X. If one of the previous exercises was difficult for you, I cannot advocate enough to go back and play with that one. From here, you're going to float. You're going to admire your beautiful hands as they begin to reach. And you're playing and you're floating through air. You're rocking right and left. At some point, you're going to rock so much that you end up on your back, at which point you're in baby. You're sort of free flowing. I've got a plant here. I can reach and interact with it. At some point, you're going to rock so much. Can you soften into parachute? And continue rolling maybe to the other side. Baby. Rolling and rolling. If you're someone who needs a more strict container, how much of you can you keep off the ground as you roll? Playing big shapes and little shapes. End on your belly, soften and relax. Tuck your toes, push your toes into the ground and kind of jiggle. Imagine you're going to jiggle your vertebra. In specific, you're jiggling the discs of your spine. And then soften and relax. Bend your knees. Put your hands underneath your armpits. Push yourself up to hands and knees. And do a little cat and cow. Now, you can keep doing cat and cow as you know it, or what if your cat and cow became sort of circular, undulating, playful in movement? Requiring you to have shoulders go on, shoulders go off, or reverse. Ending on all fours. Shoulders go off, arms are going to stay straight, shoulders go off, shoulders go on. Off, on, off, on, off, on. Notice that that's different than cat, cow. Now we're in the shoulders. Off, on. Good word of advice here. Wide. My ribs are wide. My collarbone is wide. My shoulder blades are wide. Hold with them on. Hold. Hold still. Can you liberate? Right leg behind you. Hold. And go down into a kitty cat push-up. And back up. If you're like, what's a kitty cat push-up? Remember, that's just full of milk between my hands, in front of, or how far in front of. Now we're just asking, can your legs stay liberated? One more. Other side. Shoulders are on. Shoulders stay on even as you go down and up. Two more. One more. Sit back. Relax. Just let it roll. Maybe there's even some undulations or movement through the spine. You can even do kind of like a little rocking action. Settle, take a nice breath. Then put your hands on your heart. Take a nice deep inhale into your own heart and tell yourself thank you for showing up today. You did a really good thing. Hopefully you learned something. Take a look at your space, your environment. Take a look at your own hands. Take a look at your mat. Take a look at anything you reached to. Tell your environment, tell your space, tell yourself thank you for showing up today. Take a look at your community. Anyone here on screen with you? Anyone in the room with you, dogs, cats, small animals included, and tell your community thank you for showing up. And I hope you join us for the rest of the week. Stress reset on Wednesday and Friday, and another MoveLab on Thursday. And we will have a special guest tomorrow for stress reset. His name is Bob Ross, and he'll be joining us tomorrow. So if you're like, stay tuned, join us tomorrow. You'll meet him then. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take class today, but it looked amazing. I'm going to have to do the video later. We should be up the YouTube videos for this block probably in the next week or so. These ones will start showing up, but of course we do have last blocks up already. So yeah, thank you so much, James. Doesn't look like you have any questions coming in. All right, somebody can't wait to meet Bob Ross. I know I can. All right.
Good.
Looks like we're good. Thank you so much, Raymond. Thank you, James, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, looks like we may have got a.
We do. We have one question over the Q&A. Yep. The question is, I have difficulty lifting my front body up when lying on my tummy. Any suggestions? So my guess is, the way I'm interpreting this question is when I'm lying on my stomach, I'm having a hard time coming up in extension. Or if I'm gonna do the colloquial term, I'm having a hard time executing the cow shape or cobra or swan shape as you're going through that action. So some suggestions: stick with the shoulders on, shoulders off. Also, we had in Stress Reset, we had a class all about lying on a pillow. So very, very simple. You take your standard pillow, you lie on your back, and you put the pillow underneath your back. So I'm going to lie down like this. Pillow is going to go underneath here so that I'm essentially in an extension shape. That will help you create some more mobility to get there. Chances are it's about tightness in the front and lack of strength in the back. We just don't use our backs enough. So keep playing with things like cat-cow. Keep playing with that shoulders on, shoulders off. We'll have more spinal mobility stuff. Then taking a pillow. If after the pillow practice you want more, then you bring out things like balls and foam rollers to begin to do that. But pillow is more than enough. Start there and then just keep practicing.
Cool. Yeah, always that reminder too, because we're so used to sitting, driving, kind of like this. We've got to remember to open our body the other way.
Right. So Lynette asks, can you share the previous recording YouTube video link? Alicia, will you type in, or what's the easiest way that they can access the YouTube links?
Let me get it. Just give me a minute and I'll put it in there. I should just have it saved like in a favorite, but I don't, but I'm going to do that now. I just got a new computer though. So like I'm starting from scratch with everything. So let's see, here we go. Playlist, there we go. Copy. See, come over here, share with everyone. Okay. That should take you there. Yeah. Otherwise, just go to YouTube and type in Western Health Advantage and then just go to our playlist.
Yeah, you can even type it. I did it the other day. You can even type in CommunityFIT and it pops right up.
Oh, wow. We must be getting big out there. Awesome. All right, Raymond, if you wouldn't mind leaving that up for just a minute so people can have an option to copy and paste it. And other than that, we will see you guys tomorrow.
Great. Bye, everybody. Thank you
Much.
so much.
Bye. I'll
Bye,
stay
Raymond.
for a few minutes.